I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And
now, I'm just going to ignore the attacks on the left, Alex Jones. Are you crying in your car? Is he crying in his car? Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. Hey, that's right, we back. By the way, there's like chicken wire and duct tape holding that camera together, so fingers crossed. I am Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Now, I'm sure by now you've seen what Kash Patel and Pam Bondi have had to say about a certain investigation.
Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child, and there are hundreds of videos, and no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going.
Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. That was in the before times. That was in the before times. This is what they're saying now. Looks like they want to dismiss the entire thing. Nothing to see here. Just move along, people. Well, that's not going to go over well, now is it? And guess what? It did it. As you can see right here, the interest level, especially amongst the MAGAs, was quite high. So given that, and that you need to respond to that and address to that, I know you know about giving red meat to your base. I don't think that the Trump administration is good at most things, or a lot of things, or multiple things. The one thing is messaging and communication. That's how we got here. So naturally, they would be prepared, right?
Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure. If
Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. Yeah. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you just do the Chappelle show spilling the water in real time? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I just saw. And Trump, you on your third family. You would think if anybody knows how guilty you look by attacking the accuser, it would be you. You've been in these situations many times. Like, why do you keep asking? Why I come home at 3 in the morning from a job that ended at 5? You get on my nerves with them questions. You know how this looks of everybody, and the amazingness, right, of using what's happening in Texas as a desecration. So I'll ask the same question that I had in my last video about Elon Musk's new political party. What's the magical quiet time in the Trump 47 administration when we can have these conversations? Huh? When was the peaceful week, month, day, hour? When was the magical peaceful time when we could bring this up? And let me guess, if you happen to find one, that's exactly what becomes your aim. Everything's going well. We're winning. Why do you want to bring that up? I mean, it's not. Now I see why he on 3. Now I see why he on 3. And I can only imagine if that's how unprepared you were, how unprepared she's about to be.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
See, when I said I had the file on my desk, I thought it was going to be information, but that was a ream of paper from printing. That was just a ream of empty paper so I could refill my printer. That's what that was. Now, naturally, MAGA didn't take this very well. No, they didn't take it very well at all.
But how can you say that thousands of children were raped, but I'm not going to find out who raped them?
Yeah.
How can you say that?
I agree completely.
They said that. By the way, when Pam Bondi went on television and said, I have a videotape of kids getting... I followed this case closely, and I know a lot of the people involved, as I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Why aren't they in jail? This is the Department of Justice.
Yes.
That is so crazy. This is honestly one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. And I just think it's very dangerous to play around with this stuff. Like, very dangerous.
Well,
I don't want a revolution, but if you wanted a revolution, this is how you would act.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, MAGA. All right. Now, I think Tucker Carlson saw that Ted Cruz had poked his head out and was like, I think I got one more in me. I think I got one more dunk in me. I ain't gonna let Ted Cruz live, ever. Now, I'm with the revolution and all that, MAGA. I really am. But here's you ever see somebody come to the right answer, but their work be garbage? And you like, how did you even get here? Like, I don't quite, I'm with the revolution. It's the way you got here. Like, he was just talking about what's happening in Texas. So this was a storm that the authorities on the ground said that they didn't get the proper information from the national authorities, and pointing the finger at understaffing at our weather service, which would make perfect sense given all of the Doge cuts. You literally had a man waving around a chainsaw and your whole ethos was cutting government. So naturally you would be unprepared, like as we see with the friendly skies. But just as you saw with the friendly skies, here in this instance, they decide to blame Biden. Yeah, Trump actually went and said this was Biden's operation. And apparently he didn't get the message to Ted Cruz, who said, oh, now is not the time to politicize a tragedy. And granted, Ted Cruz is often out of the communication loop because he obviously didn't notice how much Trump tried to politicize the storms last year, to the point of growing in front of every camera and spouting misinformation. So let me get this straight, MAGA. After you saw him last year spouting misinformation during a storm, preventing people from getting help that they desperately needed, and now when you see the ramifications of the cuts that he made costing people dearly in Texas, but this is why you want a you want a revolution for... I'm with the revolution. I don't know how you're here after you swallowed literally all of that. And I don't see anybody who's using that as a reason for the revolution. You done heard this man roam around for the last 5 years refusing to acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election, having to have Fox News having to pay money out for trying to support him after all of the lawsuits were lost. You let him sit out there and spout all the nonsense about COVID-19, slow to close it down and adhere to the science, costing untold American lives. And that's not to mention all the misinformation surrounding the vaccines. You saw this man pardon all of the J6ers, who some of whom literally assaulted police officers, and they still want to be the party of law and order. This is a man who we haven't seen his taxes. We don't know exactly what his dealings are with the folks in the Middle East, but we do know he took that plane, the one that he's going to take with him when he leaves the White House. That wasn't a problem. Him rolling back all of our climate and environmental regulations, that wasn't a problem. Hell, let's stay on topic. Since we're talking about Jeffrey, E. Jean Carroll, that wasn't a problem. In fact, none of those 34 felonies was a problem. And in fact, we wouldn't even got to this point if the Access Hollywood tape had been a problem. And clearly none of the photos floating around the internet are a problem. And the only reason why we have the photos is because of the internet, because we know how much he has checked the press and tried to make that a partisan arm of the federal government. And that wasn't a problem. You love to talk about how you don't trust mainstream news. I wonder when it became so sideways. That is what I wonder. The tariffs wasn't a problem. His attack on veterans wasn't a problem. The fact that he said that the cost of goods and lowering the prices of things wasn't going to happen before he even took office, that wasn't a problem. The fact that we have crops rotting, the fact that we have farmers that are losing their farms, none of that was a problem. The fact that he just had a whole crypto circus where people can funnel money to him for who knows what isn't a problem. The fact that he just rolled out a Trump phone, despite the fact that you could fill its entire memory with the people that are suing him for everything from Trump University to Trump steaks, none of that was a problem. But it's Jeffrey. Jeffrey, that was Maga. Even in this moment where I support your efforts, I fully misunderstand. I fully misunderstand. But look, this is the best I can give you. When it comes to sowing discord, as I just said in that Elon Musk piece, when it comes to sowing discord in MAGA, I'm with it. And I know Elon gonna lead the charge. Who else can we get down there? Oh, be good. Let's turn JD. Let's get JD. Oh, we already got a video?
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
There's always a video. There is always a video. Oh, we get. Let's get Laura Loomer. Let's get Laura Loomer. Today, Pam Bondi lied and said the U.S. government has no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein being a spy or agent for an intelligence agency. This is a lie. FBI documents from 2008 prove Epstein provided information for the FBI as agreed upon. Now, it's bad if you can get Laura Loomer and Marjorie Taylor Greene to agree. If you can get them to agree, that's when it's real. Just now, Marjorie Taylor Greene on the Epstein client list. No one believes there's not a client list. Then we got this one. I don't care how Jeffrey died. He was a horrible piece of S. I care about how he gathered evidence on powerful people in order to blackmail them. And I care about the victims used to do that. Where is that evidence?
This case should not be closed. We have Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison right now, and her little black book was ordered to be sealed under the court. And it has over 2,000 names of rich, powerful people and politicians in that contact list. So it's hard. It's just, look, there's nothing wrong with asking these questions. There's nothing wrong with saying we want to know more about this. And I think that's important. It's important to say I support President Trump and his administration while continuing to say we want more answers on this. That's not disloyalty. That's actually thinking for yourself, and it's actually pushing for better accountability. And that's what the American people deserve. And I think it's incredibly important to keep asking those questions. The American people are fed up with what they consider to be being lied to or told a narrative that's not true. And that's what this election was about, not only in 2016, but again in 2020 and 2024. The American people demand that the deep state no longer control this country. The American people demand loyalty and truth and transparency. And that is the right thing to continue to search for.
Was it me, or was Steve Bannon kind of quiet through that? He was kind of quiet through that, wasn't he? I don't know. Let's see, who else could we get? What do you get, Mike Chernovich? We will continue asking about Epstein. All right, I'm gonna do a heat check. How about the Hodge twins? Pam Bondi embarrasses herself with this BS excuse, and Trump acts like the case isn't a big deal. This is a terrible look for the Trump administration. Dang, they done got the Hodge twins. They probably gonna pull their N-word pass. Yeah, they gonna pull Pam Bondi's N-word pass. That's crazy they got the Hodge twins. Next thing you gonna tell me they got Roseanne. Mr. President, yes, we still care about Jeffrey. Is there a time to not care about children? Read the damn room. Now it's lit in here now. It's lit. How about now I'm just naming random. How about Chicago Ray? You're the dude, the trucker for Trump they call Chicago Ray? Pam Bondi failed her. She let them get away with this. Wow, they got Chicago Ray. They got Chicago. And I heard he picked up Liz Wheeler on the way down there. President Trump snaps at reporter who asked him Jeffrey question. Trump is massively misreading his base on this. Wow, that's wild. That's wild. Next thing you're going to tell me is they got J6 apologists on board. FBI knows the name of every single person who was at the Capitol on January 6th, but does not know the name of a single client of Jeffrey's. Okay. Ooh. Okay. If it's one thing that brings MAGA together, it is trying to blame as much as they can on Biden and trying to dunk on the past administration. Like, are they now hearkening back for the days of yore? If you're going to lie to us about the Epstein list, you might as well make these two press secretaries again. Wow, that's bad. That's bad. And I heard you just lost Babylon B. Yeah, you losing fictional characters. Other than Roseanne. Bondi explains she was going to release the files, but then some asked her not to. Man, I'm trying to think, who are the biggest apologists for MAGAdom and hate? Jack Posobiec.
And once again, we are told now, all the way from the heights of the United States Attorney General, that the Epstein case is closed. There's no more information on Jeffrey Epstein. Why do you guys keep asking about Jeffrey Epstein? She says that we don't need to hear about Jeffrey Epstein ever again. You know what this sounds like? I'm going to tell you exactly what this sounds like. Pam Bondi sounds like Hillary Clinton right now, saying, at this point, what does it even matter, when she was talking about Benghazi? All right. This is not how you treat the American people. This is not how you treat basic communications. This is not how you treat your voters and your supporters. And certainly, by the way, myself personally, I feel very angry, upset, used, every word you want to know, from having gone to the White House and receiving this binder full of baloney that was completely publicly available information already that we were told was new information on Epstein. It wasn't. We were told that more information was coming. There wasn't. You claimed that you had the list on your desk. You didn't. And none of it came out. And now when people have the obvious response of asking a question about it, you get in their faces and you tell them to stop asking? No. You sound like Hillary Clinton right now, and this isn't what you promised the American people.
I don't know what you got to bring Hillary Clinton into it. What you think, you Vivek Ramaswamy? You just got to both sides. It's right there. It's right there. I regret. Yeah, I regret going to that just because I didn't want to watch any of this content. Make me feel like when Glenn Beck crosses my feet.
Is if the jump in the tape wasn't incompetent enough for you, listen to this one. Jason is here with us. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Glenn. What a morning. Wow.
Mm-hmm. What a morning it is. Okay, so, Jason, what else have you found?
Okay, so the more and more we looked at this tape, I started looking. It was just weird because it looked like a janitor's closet. So door 46.
Janitor's closet.
And you were like, shut up. This is not a janitor's closet. I don't know what this is. Well, I was like, I could tell you there's a woman that looks like a janitor that comes out of supposedly the person, there's this cell that they're saying is his cell, which they're not, by the way. This was like people on social media were saying this was the cell. Is coming out with a trash can. So I looked around to see if there was any confirmation on what this cell was. And I found an OIG report from the Justice Department 2 years ago that shows the camera angle and the one camera that was actually working. So you can see the diagram, and I think we actually have it if you're watching this right now. There's a diagram that shows where this camera is. It shows where Epstein's cell is. And the big thing that stands out, Glenn, is this camera doesn't even have eyes on Epstein's cell at all. Like, not at all.
That's incredible.
Wow. That's bad. That's bad. All right, well, he gonna have to figure out, he gonna have to get some people on board, the way that they got so many people that just joined, like maybe Russell Brand. Maybe Russell Brand can defend it.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Flight logs? Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking.
Where is it? Where's the shocking revelations?
That there were so many individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Kash and Pam, there will be accountability.
Kash and Pam, give us the accountability. Okay, well, that's pretty interesting stuff. Is the Epstein files and the refusal or the failure to release an Epstein list the canary in the cage in MAGA populism? Isn't part of MAGA absolute transparency? Isn't it the revelation of the deep corruption of previous political establishment? Isn't it our right to know if Bill Clinton and Bill Gates, all the Bills, were going to a super fun Pinocchio island of fun, horses, courses, strokes for folks? Let me know if you are disappointed. Let me know if it changes your perspective, or is it merely the revelation that when you're in a position of political power, you're introduced to levels of esotericism and occultism that can never be, by their nature, explicitly conveyed to the public. Otherwise, the entire systems in which you are a participant would collapse.
Now, that's what I'm talking about when I mean your work to get here was garbage. This man just said, isn't MAGAism about absolute transparency as led by Donald Trump? Like, are you... You can't make this up. You can't make this. Donald Trump leads the party of... That's why I'm like, it would be something nonsensical to deconstruct this entire... Because it's built on nonsense. So it would have to be deconstructed by something that just doesn't make any logical sense, like even less sense than some of the folks that are trying to out here and defend Trump, and they do exist. So in a response to a tweet about Trump's name being on the list, we get one MAGA who calls himself a patriot, naturally. Jojo, who cares? Trump was there, we all know that. What's the big deal? Most men would have partaken too. And see, I think that probably is instructive to how they excuse so many of the things that I said in the past. They just feel like that's what most men would do in that situation. The bar for the president is set at most men, and you can't be too high above it. You got to be relatable. You know what I mean? You got to have some. That's why the felonies. You know what I mean? That's why. Now I'm getting it. Now I don't necessarily agree when he said that most men would have partaken, or our jails would be even more full than they already are. You know, if Alligator Alcatraz would have been operational and not flooded, and yes, I see you trying to run away from that, Trump, it would have been filled with most men if that were the case. And I want you to tell Alex Jones what most men would do.
Coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. It's because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country. And they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out. And, the left, they're all complicit. They're openly promoting. We know they're pure evil. And they'll think it's all funny. Oh, look, Alex is sad. Maga's tearing itself apart.
Now, I'm just going to ignore the attacks on the left, Alex Jones. Are you crying in your car? Is he crying in his car? You knew about all the stuff that I done named that got us here. That was all fine. Now you crying in your car. This is going to be so hard to explain. It really is going to be so hard to explain. But one thing I can say, Maga, whatever you need me to do to help you with the revolution, I'm fine. Huh? You got more accusations you want to get out there? What's Elon talking about? So Roger Stone says, why would Jeffrey associate Steve Bannon try to help Robert Mueller send me to prison by perjuring himself at my trial? Why would Bannon meet with Jeffrey both at his New York home and in Paris after he was convicted? Why would he coach him for his 60 Minutes appearance? To which Musk responds, Bannon is in the files. He was quiet in that Marjorie Taylor. He was kind of quiet. I don't know. Why you I'm here for the drama. You know what I mean? I'm here for the drama. So that's what Elon said. You know what I mean? So, he put that out on his little, he got a little social media thing he does. And, he just put that out and pumped that out to the masses. Hey, MAGA, Trump, how you get him is how you lose him. How you get him is how you lose him. You made an enemy out of Elon Musk. You turned him into a mark for having this little schoolyard desk for giving you the $250 million that he was able to rent for 3 months and then boot him out. Now you got to deal with this trending for days. And I, for one, am really surprised y'all weren't more prepared for this. I don't think you guys are excellent at many things, but communication is the one. I was going to say one. That's the one. That's the only one, is communication. That's the way you're able to consistently put lipstick on this pig of legislation that we've been seeing for the last 6 months and already saw for 4 years, is communication. I'm surprised you guys weren't more prepared. I mean, seeing as how, aggressive y'all get on social media, y'all could have just put some fake names out. Y'all could have put some 2K names out there and at least gave them something. So you wasn't dealing with this.
Ty Royal, Smoochie Wallace, University of Miami.
Desquarius Green Jr., University of Notre Dame.
Ibrahim Moises.
I'm here for the drama. MAGA, whatever y'all need. I report on it. I love a good fight. Yeah. Get it out your system.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video.
That's right, we did it. We hit 500,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you guys enough for reaching this milestone. Did you know that it was less than a year ago, it was actually July 7th of last year, that we just hit 100,000 subscribers? So that means over 400,000 subscribers in the last 365 days.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
And almost 240,000 in 2025 alone. And to all of you, I want to say thank you. That also includes the 2,600 members we have here on YouTube and all those that have joined the Patreon that we just launched a little over a month ago. And it's at a time like this, I gotta give a shout out to the day ones, the people that was at those old lives, those 2 p.m. lives, those lives in a completely different room, those lives with the babies crying.
That was a little bit more bidet than I was prepared for. But that being my first bidet experience, I can honestly say that I am a bidet veteran. So there you have it. I'm officially a bidet veteran. And like any veteran, I can tell you, you don't know the things I've seen.
Where there was so few people, it was like we were holding hands and having a therapy meeting. Shout out to all of y'all. I'm talking about people like Be Humble and Supervillain, Kit and the Misfit Toys, Auntie Melanie, Tanny C, all of you guys, seriously, I didn't realize that we could make it here, and certainly not just a year later, but you are the foundation that this is built on. Also, all of the mods, all the people that show up to all of the premieres and help get the word out, to all of you guys, salute. And last but not least, the people whose hard work has made this possible. You guys know the brain trust here on the channel. Miss Ray, who's been my right-hand woman, Regina, who's the best researcher in the game, and somebody who you guys may not know, my man David. He is the guy who's behind all of the thumbnails. He was my very first editor. He's the guy who designed all of the graphics.
I want to talk to the manager.
Be it Troubled Waters, Street Politics, Who Raised Y'all, Racist of the Week. He's the guy who created all of those. And to all of the people that have edited here on the channel and lent your technical expertise, I'm talking about Paul, Kit, Tony, Denzel, Boz, Trevor, to all of you guys, I wouldn't be here without you, and to you, I say thank you. As grateful as I am to be here in this moment, it is only matched by my excitement for what's to come. Which means a members live, because y'all know we gonna party.
Check it out. Dang.
Y'all know we gonna party. Be on the lookout for notifications. Don't be late. I mean, I guess you could be, because you could watch it on replay, but it's more fun when y'all show up on time. Do the opposite of what you do in real life. And me also.
Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.